Hello and welcome to WCBC Review, where we put the spotlight on small businesses. Today we're interviewing Risa Fein of a Fine Touch Massage. And how are you today, Risa?
I am good. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you're here too. This has kind of been a long time coming, and I'm a massage therapist myself, so it's really great to talk to another LMT. And I want to learn more about a fine touch massage and everything that's gone into this business that you built for yourself. So, when did you start it? What year?
Well, so let's see. I graduated from massage school in 2005. And when I got out of massage school, I was working in a salon because I'm also a manicurist. So I was doing that. I've been doing that for 24 years. And I kind of branched out on my own. I was renting like my station at the salon. And then I was like, I had to get out of there because it was a really toxic environment. I got out of there and I started renting a room in a space. And it just kind of started from that point. So I would say that was in like 2007, maybe. It was about a year and a half after I graduated from massage school.
Nice. And what was it that made you want to start the business? Was it just the salon was too much
You know,
or?
everything that like all the places I had worked previous to getting out on my own, it was just like at every turn I would face some kind of a personality obstacle, right? I mean, the salon industry is a very toxic industry for the most part, my opinion. And I feel like, it was just I had to get out on my own so I didn't have to be under somebody else's thumb, basically.
That is fair. I
Mhm.
hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And what was the toughest thing that you went through when opening up a fine touch massage?
Well, the first place that I rented space at, I was only there for a short period of time. And the person who I was renting the room from kind of sprung it on me really quickly, like, I don't want you here anymore. You need to go.
Mm,
So renting space from like a room from somebody was a challenge in and of itself. Even though I was running my own business, I was still faced with a lot of challenges, even renting space from people.
mm,
Very interesting industry. And, that's one of the things that I think I've learned throughout this whole process of owning my own business is, you know, obviously you know how to read people, right? You're a massage therapist, but that skill gets tuned and tuned more finely each year. So
mm.
anyway, I guess it's just a learning process. You have to just learn not just how to deal with those people, but how to, control your own, behavior in a situation. So that's all. It's not just about them. It's about me too.
Yeah.
Again, the learning process.
Yeah. So with what you've learned, is there anything that you would have done differently if you had to start over from day one?
Boy, that's a big question. I don't want to have to start over from day one. And that's a scary thought. But I think the thing that I've learned, it's more about clients and also maybe in the interactions with people that you either rent from or rent to, because I've done both. I learned that I shouldn't be afraid to like put really significant boundaries around people and or to let them go when it's time to let them go.
Mm, yeah. And I think in the massage industry, that's especially important because
Mhm.
people like to push boundaries.
Yeah.
And even though there is kind of a power dynamic, because, we're the ones doing the touching and the other person is, like under the sheets, possibly disrobed, and there's kind of a
Right.
vulnerability there. There's still
For sure.
plenty of people who think that they can do whatever they want to do and treat us however they want to treat us.
That is so true. Yep. I had a client that I served for 7 years and I should have fired her.
Oh, wow. 7 years. Risa.
That's one of my learning experiences was when I realized that I didn't have to serve this person anymore. Just because she paid me money didn't mean that I had to serve her, right? And she treated me like garbage and I just took it and took it and took it. And anyway, finally I couldn't. I just decided I can't take this anymore. And so I just moved on from it. So, and I fired her, but in a nice way.
Yes.
Just told her, I'm sorry. I don't think we're a good match to work together anymore. And
Mm,
I wish you well, basically.
and how did that feel afterwards?
Oh, so freeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a weight had been lifted off.
So we all know that 2020 and 2021 has been a little bit different, especially
Sure.
for people in the face-to-face contact industry. So what was the toughest part about having a massage therapy business during the coronavirus?
Well, of course, we were locked down for whatever 2.5. I didn't work for like 2.5 months, and that was hard. But one of the things I kept doing was I kept reminding myself that I didn't have it bad off, right? I wasn't without a home, without food, without, you know what I mean? Like I just kept reminding myself there are people out there that are suffering way worse than I am. And I was able to get the PPP loan and it was forgiven. So that was a relief because I had reached out to my property management and asked them if they were going to do any kind of work with us for paying rent. Cause at that time I didn't know I was going to get the PPP loan and they never responded to my email. So yeah, I was I was like, "Wow, okay, well, I guess I have my answer." And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
That's great. What is it like trying to give a massage? Like, do you use face masks? How is that even done? Do you have
Yeah, so in the beginning, what I was doing, and I don't know, maybe your regulations were similar because Washington, Oregon, similarities, but we were told we had to like wear, full body covering, like an apron or a, cape or not cape, but an apron, basically, something like that. And I was wearing smocks. I wore them for months and months and months. And I finally was just like, I cannot do this anymore. It was just making me crazy. So I just stopped doing that. But everything else I'm still doing, wiping every surface down, wearing a mask always. I don't take my mask off unless my client is not in the room, those kinds of things. And then in the beginning, I had to, because it's my office and I had one tenant at the time and I had my one contractor at the time, because we were supposed to be at 25% capacity, I was like, okay, everybody gets their day. That way we're all there alone. So we don't have clients overlapping. And so I started off that way. And then by September, we were like, okay, let's start, because I think we went to 50% or what I can't remember all the. So anyway, by that time, we started incorporating everybody back in. And then my tenant actually moved out in March. Anyway, she moved out, which she's great. She was so awesome. She was like, miss being with you, but I really wanted to start my own space. So she did, right? So you got to honor that. So, and then now I still have my one contractor and I just added another gal a couple months ago. And now I'm adding a third person. So I'm, with 2 rooms with 4 people, we're all kind of part-time hours. So there's enough space and opportunity for people to be working and all the time to be used. And there's still empty time, right? So like
Yeah,
Sundays and right. So anyway, yeah.
that sounds great. It sounds like it's actually working out really well for you.
I mean, once I got back to work, I was immediately like calling clients and like within the first week I was booked a month out. And then within the next, month, I was booked 2 months out and so on and so on and so on. And now, right now, I think right now my first opening is like mid-December. So
Wow.
and that's why I have so much need for these contractors that are working with me. So
Yeah, that's awesome. So it sounds like your business, Fine Touch, is really taking off. But if a customer was to choose between you and three other massage therapists, why would you suggest that they give you a try first?
I would say because what I do is healing. I'm not just doing like a fluffy relaxation massage. And the women that work for me are the same. We're all about the healing process and about, you know, just going to any random place, like, I won't say it out loud, but the places I call them the McDonald's of the fast food of massage.
Mhm.
So anyway,
I'm not envious of those places.
we heard the envious those places. But yeah, I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get when you go to a place like that, or even sometimes like a spa type of, setting or whatever. And so I think that that is what sets us apart. And it's so one on one, it's so personal. Like, I don't have a receptionist. When you book an appointment, clients call, I'm booking them to myself or to the other therapist. And it's very, one on one or texting, whatever, but it's just you and me. There's no front desk person putting you on hold. There's none of that. So
Thanks. That's great. And how do you get most of your customers these days?
Well, I mean, I have been in B&I, as you know, for 9 years. And so I get a lot of clients from B&I and a lot of, a lot of referrals come from that. But I also, because I've been doing nails for 24 years, I have clients that I've known for 22 years, so some of my clients have been with me a long time. Some, clients have been with me, I met like through, other places. Like I used to work out years ago with this one guy and I met this woman and now she's my client. Her husband is my client and their kids would come in and see me occasionally. I did not see them for a year and a half and I missed them terribly, but I've basically known them for 12 years. Right. So that's kind of how a lot of word of mouth, like one of my regulars just got married recently. And so she sent her new husband in to see me. And several years ago, she referred me to her dad, who is also my regular client now, and that kind of thing.
Nice. And for those of our listeners who don't know, BNI is doing
Business
business.
Network International. Yes.
Yes. And it's really fun. Wednesday morning is the highlight of my week, getting together with my chapter and listening to everyone's presentation and then have my 45 seconds in the sunlight. And
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I miss meeting in person.
mhm,
I know you haven't been in it that long and you've only experienced Zoom for BNI.
mhm,
But so when we transitioned from being in person to meeting on Zoom, I was secretary treasurer at that time.
mm,
And so we, my leadership team, the president and the VP, who's now no longer in our chapter, but we inherited that. And so we had to you know, transition that and figure that out. And so being in BNI, as long as I've been in BNI, we were so used to meeting in person. So I do miss that. I mean, I'm happy that I get to see everybody every week, but I still really miss being in person. I'm really excited for us to be able to get back to that as soon as we can. So
yeah, and migrating all that online is no small task. So kudos to you.
it was mostly our president, but still, it was a somewhat of a group effort, I would say.
Mm. So, speaking of migrating online, has the internet played much of a role in the growth of your business as it's evolved over the years?
But just a little bit. I don't do social media. I absolutely despise Facebook. I have a Facebook page, but for my business, but I never look at it. I don't go to it. In fact, I was thinking the other day I should shut it down. I don't do Instagram or any of those other. What I do is have a website. I do have a website and have for a long time, and I also have a Yelp page as well. And I have gotten some clients from Yelp over the years. They've sort of trickle in, but I definitely, and one of my clients that I got from Yelp was a number of years ago, and he stopped seeing me, not because he doesn't want to, but his wife is now my regular client. So it just kind of, like people flow in and out. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, if you had to look a year into the future, where would you want a fine touch to be?
So that's actually an interesting question because so I may be having to move, but I'm not 100% sure what's going to be happening. So my next door neighbor at my business talked to our property management. And property management told her that they were going to let her do a 2-year lease with an option to do a third year. Well, my plan is my husband's going to retire in about 6.5 years. And so when he retires, we're going to move away from this area to some place where it's a little less crowded and a little less populated and have a little more space.
Mhm.
And when that happens, I will be closing my business at that point or selling my book of business to somebody else or something. But that's off for 6 more years. I have 1 more year left on my current lease. And I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to tell them that I wanted to be there for 5 more years, but we'll just have to wait and see what they say. But if not, then I probably will be looking for a new to lease for 5 more years at the end of this year. So long answer to your one question.
So would you be moving out of Bellevue?
I no, I would stay in
Oh,
Bellevue. I've been in Bellevue my entire career. I would not leave Bellevue. Maybe I would like go like I'm near Belred Road, so I would go up a little bit of Belred Road. But if that's still Bellevue, I think it's still Bellevue. It could technically be Redmond. I don't know exactly where the property lines are, but or it's not property, but city lines. I don't know where all that is, but yes, I mean I would still be within 2 to 3 and probably 2 mile radius of where I'm at now. I don't want to stray too far because every time you move, oftentimes you lose clients, although I doubt that will happen with me, but you never know. It could. I doubt it though.
that makes sense. You had me panicking a little bit when you're like, I'm going to move to a more secluded area. And I'm thinking like
Well,
the Olympic Peninsula, like up in the.
that is going to happen. That is going to happen, but not for 5 years.
Gotcha. So we are nearing the end of the interview, and something that I like to ask everybody is if you had a new, fresh business owner in front of you, and in this point, it would be a massage therapist who wants to open their own private practice. What's the number one piece of advice that you would give them?
Oh gosh, that's a good question.
Lord knows massage therapists need some business advice because
Yeah,
you're good at massage. And
right. That's one thing that people tell me a lot is that I'm really good at the business side of massage therapy, and I'm good at both. Obviously, I mean my clients are I'm so busy, but I'm really organized, and just making sure you have all your ducks in a row and that kind of thing. I mean, I had somebody tell me that I should teach my end goal once I do move out of here and sell my business is to become a massage therapy teacher at some school nearby wherever we're going to be living. But somebody once told me that I should teach the business side of it as well as the other because so many therapists are so lacking in that department. So I guess that would be the thing I would say is, you know, making sure that, and the other thing I realized some massage therapists, and not all, but some of them are kind of flaky. And that that's a misnomer, I think. A lot of it has to do with like Phoebe from Friends and that whole like stupid, information that people get from TV shows and movies and whatever. But there are some out there that are just so focused on the body work and like the natural and all those pieces that they're not focusing on the business. So I would say that would be the thing is to make sure you know how to get the business stuff.
yeah. Yeah, there's a book called The E-Myth that talks about that a lot. I'm not sure if you've read it. It's short for entrepreneurs, so it's not like, email like
Right.
it's and he talks about how every entrepreneur has three sides of themselves. They have the technician, which is the person who does the job, you know, gives the service or makes the good or whatever it is, they're the doer. And then there's the manager, which is the person who plans the systems and make sure that like all the admin stuff is getting taken care of. And then there's the entrepreneur who's like the visionary, the big picture, like why are we even in business? What are we really doing? Where do we want to go 10 years in the future?
Mhm.
Like the big planner, and how most business owners get into business and they're technicians and they're
Yeah.
just doing their service, just making their goods, and they're not. And that's a great way to get stuck and end up actually, we get into business to have freedom and not really be under anybody else's control. But then our business ends up being our boss and is
Right.
controlling us and how we
Right.
spend every minute of our time. So it's kind of like bringing in those other parts and remembering, oh, I don't have to do every single part in my business. I can outsource and,
I do outsource some things for sure, like my bookkeeping, and I didn't for a
oh,
long time. And it would stress me out so badly. So I was like, when I just was like, I can't do this anymore. And that again, that whole weight lifted off your shoulders. It was just a huge relief for me. But the thing that you said about systems in place and those kinds of things, that is me to a T.
hmm,
Like I am the manager, but I'm also the technician And I guess the entrepreneur as well. So I'm kind of all three of those things, but I have delegated responsibilities to other people. Again, why I so many contractors because I'm so busy. I don't have the capacity to take care of every person. And of
Mm.
course, there's this piece of me sometimes where I'm like, well, maybe I should add some hours so I can, take more people. And I'm like, no, I've been doing this for a long time. And when you've been doing this as long as I have, it takes a toll on your body. And you have to give yourself some room to, let somebody else take care of clients. So,
Yeah. Anybody who's not a massage therapist listening to this, thank your therapist because it is a very physical job and they are working hard all day long.
yes, very.
Yes. So, Risa, thank you so much for hopping on WCBC Review with me. Where can people find a fine touch massage?
Fitouch.net is my website. So you can find me there. That's the best place.
Short and sweet. I love it.
Certainly. Yeah.
Net. I will put that in the show notes so people can go check Risa out. If you're in Bellevue, go and get a massage.
Great. Thank you.
So much.